Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharya Nirvasesha Sanyavari Plasticharya Chatarya. We are reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 9. I presume it's text 11 or 12. Is that correct?
Yes, it's 11.
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavindam
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhaktavinda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavindam
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhaktavinda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavindam
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Guru Bhaktavinda.
Reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada's translation and commentary. And here we are reading about the desire tree of devotional service. And we've just heard, interesting, about Madhavendra Puri. The thread here. I presume it's Krishnadas Kaviraj speaking, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's the thoughts of Lord Chaitanya. What's happening here? Lord Chaitanya thought, my name is Vishvambar, one who maintains the entire universe. Its meaning will be actualized if I can fill the whole universe with love of Godhead. Thus the Lord brought the desire tree of devotional service, Krishnadas is speaking, the desire tree of devotional service to this earth, and became its gardener. He sowed the seed and sprinkled upon it the water of his will. All glories to Sri Madhavendra Puri, the storehouse of all devotional service unto Krishna. He is the desire tree of devotional service. And it is in him that the seed of devotional service first fructified. So this is how Lord Chaitanya brought this desire tree of devotional service through the personality of Madhavendra Puri. And as we know, it's this seed watered by the will of the Lord is in a desire to see that Krishna consciousness be spread everywhere, and ultimately, as it says here, to the love of God be spread throughout the whole world. So we're reading today text number 11, the next step in the process of showering love of Godhead or the will of the Lord all over the world. The seed, this is text number 11. I don't know if it's written anywhere. I don't think so.
No, it's not.
Well, I'll just read it and go on to the verse. Tri Ishwarapuri Rupe Ankura Pushtahaya Apane Chaitanya Malhi Skanda Upajaya. The seed of devotional service next fructified in the form of Sri Ishwarapuri. And then the gardener himself, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, became the main trunk of the tree of devotional service. You see, when a seed is planted, it begins to fructify, it just under the ground, and then maybe it appears, the seed is there, then it begins to fructify. Some sprouts come off of the seed, or whatever it's called, and it gradually grows and penetrates through the soil, and then the plant starts to manifest. That plant has a trunk, so that trunk of the plant is himself Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the main trunk. In this chapter we're hearing about so many of the branches and sub-branches and what have you, of that trunk. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, through the person expansioner, can say, Madhavendra Puri has planted the seed, or brought the seed into this dark world, and he's the trunk, and his associates are the various branches to produce the fruit. The whole idea of planting something is to get something. Obviously different vegetation has different fruits, you could say, whether it's a flower or a fruit or a vegetable or something. One hopes to get something from it, or just simply fodder food. But if we're talking about a tree or a flower or something, we hope to get some kind of fruit, some kind of result, or some vegetable. There are many, we all know, even if we haven't experienced, there are many challenges in getting the fruit. Although the process may be there, there are many other factors which have to be taken into account. You may know the watering process. You may have the right seed. You may even have the right climate, the right environment, the right soil. But there are many other factors also. It's not just the science itself, but it is a science, but there are many other factors involved in gardening or in agriculture to be careful of. Of course, there has to be the environment, the climate, so on, suitable. Otherwise, frost, for instance, can destroy the fruit blossom. They won't grow. Even if the blossom is there, it won't grow into a fruit. There are many other creatures which come and try to destroy. For instance, at New Mayapur we have hornets which destroy the fruit, even though they've grown. The hornets still eat the fruit, and they destroy it. And they destroy other things too. And there are many other creatures and insects that may come along at different stages of the process and cause problems. Maybe very serious problems. Some of them we can say are within us from our past lives, and some are in this lifetime. Association of various kinds affecting our growth, affecting our progress in spiritual life, in the form of various offenses. Bad association evolves in eventually, maybe initially also, committing offenses, and it is also an offense to remain attached to material things, of course, but awakening material desires, which then will create doubts, lack of enthusiasm, tendency to criticize, and so on, because of bad association, improper association. So very carefully one has to guard the creeper of devotion and cultivate it, yes, but we also have to guard it. Not just a matter of blindly cultivating, and we have to be careful to guard it also. They're all described in various places in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the various obstacles or the various dangers on the path of devotional service. Otherwise, you can chant for many lifetimes and still the fruit will not, it will not become sweet. There will be no rasa. We see that a lot. Rasa means a sweet, mellow taste, fructification of the full, result, purpose behind the whole process. It's not just a process. The process is not the purpose. The measurable aspect of the process from the material or relative point of view is not the purpose of the process. The purpose of the process is to reach that point of the fruit becoming sweet. That's what it means. Rasa means rasagula. It means sweet. In the material world we have perversion of that same principle. Spiritual world is based on rasa, and the material world also is based on rasa. In the material world it becomes lust instead of love. We're lusting over material objects. Why? Because we think we're going to get some sweet taste from them. We are looking for a rasa, a sweet taste. But everyone knows that sweet taste is not only mixed with so many other bitter tastes, it's also temporary. The spiritual rasa, bhakti rasa, is amrita. It's not mixed with anything, it's pure. Anyabilasita shunyam. It is without any other motive or desires. Hoitikiya pratiyata. It's unmixed. It doesn't have any material motivation. Pure motivation is love. Or at least cultivating. The process is one of cultivating. And the kulyena, Krishna, favorable. That which is favorable, that which is pleasing to Krishna. A lifestyle, practice, and so on, which is pleasing to Krishna. That's like we're worshipping the deities here. Sudarshan Prabhu is offering arati. In the mood, he wants to please Krishna. He's doing it under the shelter and guidance of those who are dear to Krishna, who show us how to live our lives in a way which is pleasing to Krishna. That's the business, the whole business of our Guru Parampara. It's to rectify our tendency to want to please ourselves, which is called kama, lust, to love, prema, to pleasing Krishna. That's the whole. That's the mercy that the Lord gives, is the opportunity for that change of heart. So the seed of devotional service next fructified in the form of Shri Ishwara Puri. They pass it down. When a fruit is fully ripened, different fruits of course, nowadays we often find the flowers don't smell, the fruit doesn't have any rasa. It's dry or funny taste, not what it's meant to be. And you get used to that and you accept that that's the rasa, but if you know what a strawberry, for instance, we'll give it a simple example, which you may not know what strawberry tastes like. I tasted a strawberry. Where was that? Just recently we were somewhere. Somebody gave us real strawberries. When I say real strawberries, I mean strawberries that tasted like what they're meant to taste like.
Czech.
In Czech, that's right.
From the farm.
From the farm, you're right. They're growing strawberries. I would say it's the first time in, I don't know, several decades I've tasted what I would call a strawberry. They're almost tasteless, so they have a weird taste. You get used to that and you think that's the taste of strawberry, but it's not. They're so sweet and so juicy. They're like, little red mangoes. But you rarely get that nowadays. They're all like we say. They look like strawberries, but they don't taste like strawberries. The same thing could apply to everything, even spiritual life. It looks like, wow. But what's going on? The taste inside is another thing altogether. Very austere and very learned, following on with everything to the T, blah, 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 being perfect. But what's inside, that's another thing. Maybe it's what it's supposed to be, but maybe it's not also. Depends whether it's anyabhadasata shunyam, whether it's pure motivation or not. So, just to see why you get excited, the strawberry, and it has no taste, or a very kind of weird sort of sour taste almost. It's not sweet. Maybe a little bit of sweetness, but it's mixed with a sour taste. Meant to be purely sweet. A mango, if you taste a mango and it's bitter, you'll really spit it out. You buy a bag of mangoes. Now is the mango season in many parts of India. And, you expect it to be sweet, isn't it? When you buy them here, they're not always sweet. They're sometimes sour. There's many fruits, like the papaya, is supposed to be super duper sweet. And oftentimes you get it, it's like flat. It's flat. There's no real taste. It's just boring. You can't even say it's got any taste. I mean, it's not even sour. It's just boring. Pineapples also. Something is there, but it's mixed with a little bit of bitterness and sourness. And it's not at all what it's meant to be. Grapes, you could say that about every single fruit you can think of. Apples, oh my goodness. Apples today are like, they should be called appalling, not apples. Appalling. They're terrible taste. You can hardly eat them. They're hard like rocks. They break your teeth if you've got false teeth. And there's very little juice and very little taste in them. And if they are tasted, they're really sour. And we used to pick apples when we were kids off the trees, and they'd be so sweet and tasty. What to do? This is the influences of the material world. Well, the other aspect of it is that the fact of the matter is that I may be talking like this, and you may not be thinking the same way, because the fact of the matter is that in the material world, the rasa diminishes. The same thing becomes less tasty over time. The rasa, the relish, the taste, diminishes over time. You eat the same thing again and again, and you get less rasa, whether it's sex life or music or sense gratification, looking at the same thing all the time, which gave you so much inspiration when you were a kid. You felt so enlivened. It's just boring now. It doesn't have the same taste. Not because you're a devotee, but because that's the way it works in the material world. It's the law of diminishing returns, the economic law. You get less out of it the more you try. Everything's like that. And same thing with fruits. It becomes a little boring after a while. If you leave it for a long time and you take it again, then it kind of, you might feel, somewhat, wow, that was far out, Haven't tasted that in 50 years, But otherwise it does. It has this diminishing effect. You become less. Well, Bhakti Rasa is not like that. It should be the opposite, but sometimes it seems like that. It also becomes a little dried up, a little boring, a little monotonous, a little too much. Had enough of this. Vishnu Jan, he's deep in meditation here. His heart is focused on the lotus feet of Radha Parisishwara, the holy name, tasting nectar. But sometimes it's like, I did that before. I went long, grinding on here, chanting, doing this, doing that. And, we get a little dried up sometimes. So one has to look. We're not going to get into that at this moment, but we look at the reasons. Why is it drying up? Why does a pond dry up? Why does the pond at New Mayapur dry up? We're still trying to work that one out. But why does it dry up? You understand? Why does the pond dry up? It's full of water, little lake full of water. But then it dries up. Why? Your heart's like a lake. Why does it dry up? Why? There's a hole. We used to sing a song when we were kids. There's a hole in my bucket, dear some. What was it? Dear what? You heard that song?
I think so.
I can't remember it. I remember the first line. There's a hole in my bucket. Well, one of the reasons there's a hole, right? It's flowing out. You're pouring it in and it's flowing out. You know, it's never gonna, not gonna work, is it? Maybe you've got to constantly pour it in. But you're not getting anywhere because it's flowing out. It's flowing out. Okay, ponds or lakes, that's what happens. But that's not the point. The point, if there's a hole in the pond or a leak, then the water will flow out, right? To a certain degree, at least. So that's one thing. You've got to make sure there's no holes in your devotional service. The devotional service has to be wholesome, but it has to be careful. We don't have holes. Many holes are there. You know, we make a hole. We're watching this thing. We look into that thing, and we, on a subtle platform, we start thinking about that thing and this thing. These are all kind of different kind of holes, and the water flows out. We're looking somewhere else. And also, what else may happen that causes it to dry up?
Exposition to the sun?
Well, it's called evaporation, isn't it, in English? The sun evaporates the water. And it will. Of course, analogically, it can be seen in different ways. The sun can be seen Krishna way. But if we talk it in terms of just merely the blazing fire material existence which we're surrounded by, then, let's say, we can dry up. So we have to protect ourselves from the blazing fire material existence, that's for sure, by taking shelter of the lotus feet of Guru and Gauranga, spiritual master and the Parampara, Krishna. And particularly, we have to be careful that drying up or that evaporation, we could say, you could look at it in different ways, is association. The association, proper association. The wrong association would dry up a devotional creeper. You could say other things may have a part to play too. Maybe they're draining it off. There's persons who do purposely drain the water off. Or animals, if no replenishment's there, and it's just simply animals come and drink, it will dry up eventually. And the other factor is, of course, is that we're not watering. There's no rainfall. If there's no rainfall, even if the other factor is not in place, eventually the water will seep out. It'll dry up, no matter how much the other things are in place. It'll dry up. The water has to be replenished, doesn't it? You have to constantly water. You can't just put the seed in and water it once. You have to water it over and over. Because these other factors are in place, it will dry up. You have to always water that seed. This practical analogy, you could say. You could probably word it better, but that's the idea, that these factors have to be borne in mind. It's not just watering either. You water and there's a hole, or there's a million animals eating it, drinking it all the time, or there's a pipe draining it all off, or it's like the sun is so hot it just evaporates quicker than you can. The watering has to be, appropriate, sufficient rain, sufficient watering. A little watering it's okay, but it may not be enough. It will still gradually diminish. You have to water sufficiently for the plant to grow or for the heart to become full of Krishna consciousness. So there's no room for these other mundane distractions or these holes, and there's no room that bad association can, evaporate or destroy our devotion. The worst thing of all, of course, is aparad, which is, related. Various kinds of anarthas are there. Aparad is the worst. Vaishnava aparad, which really can dry up our lake of devotion very easily, because it displeases Krishna like anything. So I'll read the purport. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj writes in his Anubhasya, Sri Ishwara Puri was a resident of Kumarahata, where there is now a railway station named as Kamarhata. Nearby, there is another station named Halasahar, which belongs to the Eastern Railway. The railway runs from the eastern section of Calcutta. You may not be able to follow these directions now. Maybe there's some changes taken place, I don't know. It's interesting, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj gives he's like a transcendental tour guide, isn't he? He's guiding us externally and internally. Externally, he wants us to also, let's say, take the darshan or take the dust of the pure devotees by going there. He gives that direction, but internally he gives the direction too. Ishwar Puri appeared in a Brahmin family. It's not just a tourist holiday, so to speak, going to the holy dham. You can get directions how to go there, which is necessary, you could say, but it's not the purpose of going there, is it? It certainly is necessary and it's good, but that's not it's like if you go to you go to a shop, what's the purpose of going to a shop? To go there? You say you want to, I want to go to, what's the famous store here? Oshan. I want to go to Oshan. Okay. Out the gate, turn left, and maybe 300 meters up the road or whatever it is, 400 meters. You come to Oshan. And then you turn left, you go into the shop. Wow, fantastic. And what do you do when you go in there?
Take escalator.
Huh?
Escalator.
Okay, you go on the escalator. What else can you do?
Purchase.
Huh?
Purchase commodities.
Yeah, generally speaking, people go there. They may have other reasons. They may go there to meet their friends or have a cup of coffee or go to the toilet. So whatever it is, they've got a toilet up there you can use. You may have other purposes, but the general purpose, the real purpose of the shop is not that. They didn't open Oshan just to have a coffee store there. They don't need Oshan for that. You can get coffee other places. You don't need to go to Oshan. You don't need to go there to go to the toilet. You can go to the toilet elsewhere. You don't need to go there just to meet your mates. You can meet them anywhere. You go there to shop because you can't get that anywhere else. At least you can, but I mean, you get the idea. You go there because they sell all the things you want. They've got electrical stuff, food stuff, stationery stuff, clothing stuff, right? Toys. They got just all the stuff that you need for a day-to-day life. So people go to Oshan. They don't go there. The other reasons are secondary. The primary purpose is they go there to shop. You see? That's what they go there for. If you just simply go there and think, okay, did you get it? I went to Oshan. But you were supposed to do the shopping. No, I just went to Oshan. What did you get there? Well, I relieved my bowels. I drank a cup of coffee. I met somebody I hadn't met for 30 years. But did you do the shopping? No. I went to Oshan. People go to Vrindavan and the same thing. Huh? You meet your old mates and you talk about, your past life or the problems of the present life, or find fault in what this one is doing and that one's doing. Gossip about the world events. Drink some, whatever, tasty drink. eat a pizza in the MBT or something, have something like that. Go and bathe in the river and try to dump all your sins in there. Thinking, now I'm a pure devotee, I'll just bathe in a Jamuna or Radhakund or something. But, we're missing the purpose. They're all secondary things, and there's, relatively speaking, maybe something there, but it's very secondary. What do you go to Vrindavan for? Why do you approach a spiritual master? To fulfill your material desires? Is that why you do it? Most people seem to think that's the idea. Most people do. They say that the spiritual master is supposed to solve all my family issues. They're supposed to solve my economic issues, my mental issues, my educational issues, my health issues. Most people think like that. In reality. Not to say in reality, but in fact. What actually happens is that's what happens. Institutional problems, this thing, that thing. There's only one problem, is you've got it wrong. There's only one problem, we've got it wrong. We're seeing ourselves in the center, that's the only problem. We're forgetting Krishna. Everything else is secondary. And we go to Vrindavan and we sometimes miss that point. Oh, I heard a fantastic story. Yeah, but how does that change your heart? Oh, we went here, we went there, I've got pictures, here I am in Prem Sarovar, here I am in Sanket, here I am in Vindakund, here I am. There's my baby, and there's my wife, and here I am with all the big shots. Here we are in Kamyavan, oh Kamyavan, ooh. Here we are in Bilvavan. We've been everywhere. I went all over Vrindavan. And what's on television tonight? Who won the cup? Are you going to vote in the election? I think we need to change them, what's really happening? There's something there, but it's not very deep. It hasn't dried up. There's the other side of the argument to dry up all these material. And in the Krishna Sun, providing we don't keep pouring material water into it, will dry up the pond or the lake of our consciousness. Be dried up in the presence of the Krishna Sun. And the Krishna Sun comes in the personification of the pure devotees of the Lord. They are represented Krishna through them. They dry up, or the drying process it comes through the pure devotees of the Lord. The watering process and the drying process. The drying up of the material and the watering of the spiritual. You have to have both. Both have to be there. So we read on. So these pure devotees, they are as good as God. Ishwara Puri appeared in the Brahmin family and was most beloved disciple of Madhavendra Puri. In the last portion of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it states, Ishwara Puri Gosani Kari Shri Padasevan Svahaste Karena Ma Mutradi Marjan Nirantara Krishna Nam Karaya Smaran Krishna Nam Krishna Lila Shunaya Anukshan Tushtahana Puritanre Kaila Alingana Vada Dila Krishna Tomar Hauka Premadana Sehaite Ishwara Puri Premera Sagar. At the last stage of his life, Sri Madhavendra Puri became an invalid and was completely unable to move. And Ishwara Puri so completely engaged himself in his service that he personally cleaned up his stool and urine, always chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and reminding Sri Madhavendra Puri about the pastimes of Lord Krishna. In the last stage of his life, Ishwara Puri gave the best service among his disciples. Thus Madhavendra Puri, being very pleased with him, blessed him, saying, "My dear boy, I can only pray to Krishna that he will be pleased with you." Thus Ishwara Puri, by the grace of his spiritual master, Sri Madhavendra Puri, became a great devotee in the ocean of love of Godhead. It's the ocean of Premera Sagara, the ocean of love. not the ocean of karma, as in terms of material karma, the ocean of lust. Everyone's drowning in the ocean of lust, greed, anger, illusion, madness and envy, right? And the various side effects of this world, sleep being one of them. We're always sleepy. Yeah. We look forward to sleep. We look forward to eating, isn't it? We look forward to, relieving ourselves at the toilet. We look forward to. What else do you look forward to? When the class is over. What else do you look forward to? Getting praised. Chanting. I don't know if you look forward to chanting. Some people may. Some fanatics, some cult members.
When it ends.
When it ends, exactly. When is this kirtan going to end? And how am I going to get out of here? When is this class going to end? God, I hope he finishes on time. I was listening to a class. Who was that said that? I was listening last night during the night to different classes, different devotees. One of them said that he gave a class. No, it was Keshav Maharaj, wasn't it? Who was there? You were there, I think. Yes. Huh? Mananda was there. Okay, we listened to Keshav Maharaj speaking. He's in Malaysia right now. I never gave him permission. He never asked me. He's in my home camp, He never asked me if he could go there. You're supposed to ask. Just gate crash. He gate crashed there. He was saying he said, I don't know if it's just an ally, I can't remember if it's him or somebody. He gave it in a very nice class, but it was way above people in a sense, And everyone was enthralled. He was telling all these stories and what have you. And, and so somebody said, well, it was a really good class. Well, what did you like about the class? You finished on time. That's all they liked about it, was you finished on time. Sometimes that's our motive. Everyone's looking at their watch. What time's breakfast, God, I must have a lot to do today. Let's have a look at my mobile list. Got to get out of here quick while no one's watching. The speaker just closed his eyes. Better escape quick whilst he's got his eyes closed. And you see someone else sneaking out. You kind of look at your there's an important text message. I got to go. You find some excuse to get out. But we don't have external phones these days. But you used to have external phones. Things that you put on those old phones that you pick up. It's got a wire that connects it to a box. You don't see them much now, do you? Hardly ever see one. It's really rare. They still exist. There's still some.
In offices.
Maybe. And as soon as it rings, 10 devotees go out to answer the phone. None of them come back again. Can someone bring water? And 8 devotees go out to bring water. No one brings water. Or one does. And little excuses to get out. Very common thing. These tendencies for... We don't have much of a taste of attraction for Krishna consciousness, but there's a process. Exposure to good association. So if we want prema or love, then there has to be some kind of effort made. It's not just sitting there like a dummy. Just mechanical. Tape recorder speaks very nicely. I don't know if you ever noticed that. My computer and this little box I get, they give really good lectures. Really good lectures. I press the button and the computer starts giving a really good lecture. Amazing. Prabhupada and all the big gurus and all some of these computers just repeating exactly what they said. It's really good. Really good disciple. We all know the computer is dead. It's dead. It's not just a machine. It's one thing to repeat, that's good. But that's not enough, is it? You have to live it. You have to apply it in your life. By the mercy of the spiritual master, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti states in the Guru Vashtakam prayer, Yasya Prasad Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagati Katopi. By the mercy of the spiritual master, one is blessed by the mercy of Krishna. You have to understand what is that mercy. Without the grace of the spiritual master, one cannot make any advancement. It is by the mercy of the spiritual master that one becomes perfect, as vividly exemplified here. A Vaishnava is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but if he appears to be an invalid, this gives a chance to his disciples to serve him. Ishwar Puri pleased his spiritual master by service, and by the blessings of his spiritual master he became such a great personality that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted him as his spiritual master. So that's confirmation of some of the, say, statements that devotees make about Srila Prabhupada's Ancha-lila, his final pastimes, giving devotees a chance to serve him. He was also externally, you can say the same words are used here by Prabhupada, invalid, couldn't move. He gave the devotees, those fortunate souls, those great souls, an opportunity to serve him day and night, menially, manually, whatever you call it. Massaging him, cleaning up his, whatever, wastes, feeding him, medical, massage, so many things. Moving him around to help relieve the bed sores, different things. Trying to please, simply trying to do your best to bring pleasures of the spiritual master, kirtan going on, readings, chantings, everything going on for the service of the spiritual master. Prabhupada couldn't physically do those things. He's still translating up to fairly close to the last moments. And that's how one becomes, how spiritual master endows his mercy, how he gives his mercy. Krishna is so pleased when he sees the disciple trying to fulfill, as here in the previous verse we say, or it was said rather, he sowed the seed and sprinkled upon it the water of his will. The spiritual master gives a seed, but the disciple has to know the will and has to fulfill that will by different service, ultimately attitude, of course, but at least practical application of the will has to be there. So many analogies you could give in that regard, even the literal will we've been working on. Nastikananda Prabhu has been very kindly working on our will for the last, how many years is it now? A long time. It's very complicated, these things, if you've got to do it. So many different, it's not just everything goes to my son, but there's all many different things. You're in an institution, you're in a position of supposedly a spiritual master, you've got disciples, you've got what happens to you. Most people just accept whatever they do to you when you're old and dying. They put you in hospital, they stick pipes into you, they pump you up with gas and other things. And then you die and they burn you or bury you. You just have to make that. If you don't make any decision, your family does it for you. So you don't really have much to say, you just say all the money, and if you say nothing, it all goes to your wife or your kids or husband or something. And unless you say something else. And in this country, you also don't have much choice. I heard that a certain amount of percentage must go to the children, if there are children. It's the law of the land. Not every country has the same law. It varies from place to place. But there's a will. You've got to know what the will is. What the intention is, what the purpose is. You've got to know what the will is. It's not just to chant. There's a purpose behind it all. It's not just to worship the deity. You've got to know what the will of the Lord is. It begins by following the mechanics, mechanical devotional service, but it has to go a little further than that. If you're a husband and wife, and everyone knows this, quite often is the case, the relationship is totally mechanical. The wife does her part and the husband does hers, and there's nothing else. And they live together, but they don't live together. They live in the same house. You sleep there, and I sleep there. You do this, and I do that. And there's no real relationship other than that. It's external. The relationship is purely external. Maybe you go a whole life like that, but that doesn't give a ras, it doesn't give a taste, it doesn't give the satisfaction of the heart. You've got to look somewhere else for that. You go and get drunk, or you're out all the time, or you're doing something else. You're living in, you send a message to your wife, you just press the button, send a quick text message, and that's it. There's no real relationship there. You just have to do what you're supposed to do, and I do. I give you the money, you cook what I like, finished. Clean the socks, and you do it yourself. Wash them yourself. Why should I wash your socks? You're my wife, so what? You're my husband. You wash my socks. I'm working too. Why should I do anything else? You're working, I'm working. You wash your own socks. Not much of a rasa, not much of a loving relationship anyway. It's very rather a bitter relationship. Neither material or spiritually pleasing. So the will, one has to know the will. If you want to be a happy married life, you have to know what the other partner would make them satisfied. You have to go with their will, not your will. A Vaishnava is... Oh, we read that. Ishwar Puri was the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but before initiating Lord Chaitanya, he went to Navadvip and lived for a few months in the house of Gopinath Acharya. At that time, Lord Chaitanya became acquainted with him, and it is understood that he served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by reciting his book, Krishna Lilamrita. This is explained in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikand, chapter 11. I've never seen this book, Krishna Lilamrita. Is it available somewhere? I wonder. Is it available? You ever heard of it?
Krishna Karnamrita?
Krishna Lilamrita. It's a book by Ishwar Puri, which is quoted in the Chaitanya Bhagavat Adikand, chapter 11. Krishna Lilamrita. Can't remember seeing it. Maybe it's not available anymore. There's many books are not available anymore because there's only one copy of them. And maybe damaged, lost, or whatever. To teach others by example how to be a faithful disciple of one's spiritual master, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, visited the birthplace of Ishwara Puri of Kumarahata and collected some earth from his birth site. Because these are Nitya Siddhas, they're not. Where they appear becomes, it's a holy place, Tirtha. Because they're bringing the spiritual world into this world. It's a little different. I mean, emotion may be there, but the sadhana siddha who's not come into this world to bring the spiritual world, he's in this world because of material attachment. It's a little different, and you take birth in a place because of your karma. You haven't taken birth there to transform that into, or to bring a tirtha. You brought your karma with you. So there's nothing particularly, other than it reminds us of them or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but in of itself it's not exactly the same thing. When a Nitya Siddha appears in this world, this place of birth becomes a tirtha. Everywhere they go is a tirtha, right from the moment they appear. The womb of his mother is a tirtha. That doesn't apply to a conditioned soul who has the good fortune of meeting a Nitya Siddha and take up the path. It's related, but it's not the same. There's the sentiment, the emotion, but it's not the same, exactly. You're born in wherever you're born because of your karma. That's why you were born in that place. Nitya Siddha is born somewhere because of Krishna's will, not because of their karma. Krishna's will that they're born in New York or Calcutta or whatever it is, for the sake of fulfilling Krishna's will. We're born where we are to try to fulfill our will. You see, little difference. And that can be transformed, and the real birth is when that transformation takes place, not when you were born into this, bag of bones and blood and pus and stool. when we're born, spiritually born, when we connect with a pure devotee of the Lord. That's the real birth. That becomes a holy place. That becomes a memorable event. That's your birthday. Not when you're born. We do that also, of course, everyone does. It's part of social life, but it's not the real birth. The birth of a Nitya Siddha in this world is indeed, it really is something special. For others, it is what it is. I won't say anymore. It is what it is. It becomes holy in the sense, at least for the disciples, because it's naturally related to the spiritual master. It's not, but for others it may not mean so much because their, let's say, affinity is not the same. To teach others by example. Thus he kept very carefully. He took dust. This he kept very carefully, and he used to eat a small portion of it daily, because that dust has been descendant of or directly touched by that Nitya Siddha, pure devotee of the Lord. And he would used to eat a small portion of it daily. This is stated in Chaitanya Bhagavat ISKCON chapter 17. It has now become customary for devotees following the example of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to go there and collect some earth from that place. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. End of purport. And class, 3 minutes overtime. Probably Prasad is not quite ready yet. It's probably not. Maybe it is sitting there already. Maybe a plate. Get your plate together. Don't be late. Get your plate. Then you can eat. Almost right. He ate. He ate from his plate because the class wasn't late. Great. Great, mate. So what are we going to do? What are you going to do now? Pardon?
Question.
You not want to take prasadam? Which is more important?
Questions. This is also
Questions or answers?
both.
Both. Well, questions, at least you got half of it. You can ask the question. We can't say if it'll be the other half. At least you've got something. It's a start, isn't it? If you don't ask questions, it's pretty hard to get an answer. So at least half of it's there. And if you're sincere, Krishna will see, and he'll give you the answer. Okay? Ask.
Some.
You said,
Oh. Rohit.
You said Hare Krishna Guru.
I never heard you ask a question before.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
This is truly awesome.
You said in the beginning about the how to know the will of disciple. How can we
Well, that wasn't quite
know?
the beginning. That was near the end.
Yeah.
It's the beginning of our memory usually. The last 3 or 4 sentences
Yeah,
are usually all you remember about a class, if that. Maybe the last word sometimes. So the last few sentences we were talking about will. Yeah.
How can we know that spiritual master, disciple
What is his will?
Yeah, will.
Who's your spiritual master?
Who is your spiritual master? He's aspiring.
Who from?
Bhakti Vikas Maharaj.
Bhakti Vikas Maharaj. Well, he's written a lot of books. He has a lot of disciples. You may not be able to directly ask him. He has quite a lot of disciples. How many thousands, I don't know. But he has a lot. And he's written a lot of books. Is that right? So you have to ask some of his disciples who are more mature. And then, you have to ask, what does he tell you to do? What do you know? Do you know anything that he wants? Anything at all? Do you remember any instruction he's given you?
Yeah.
What?
Like Prabhupada completed 50% of farm projects and there is more 50%.
He completed 50% of the farm projects and there's another 50% of the farm projects to complete. I think you didn't word it quite correctly.
Varnashrama community, I think.
Huh?
Varnashrama, 50% farm, I think.
I think you kind of understand it. You just haven't worded it very well. 50% of his mission has been established, but there's still 50% to do, which is understood. At least that's one instruction your spiritual master is quite focused on. That means establishing varnashram, which automatically means obviously includes farm. It's not exclusive. It's not only farms. It's varna ashram, which does include other things too. So yes, okay, that's well, what you're going to do with that. That's one instruction. But what are you going to do with that?
To practice
Where's
more.
the spade? He wants to get it. You send him out into the garden right now. He should be growing. What are you doing sitting here talking about something? You have to do it.
Okay.
Don't bring something up which you're not going to do. So what's the point of that? What's the point of that? You want everyone else to do it, or are you going to do it?
I mean to get more time for bhakti so that we are not.
Okay, now you've changed the topic, haven't you? Come on. What is this? Come on, get real. What instruction have you received from your spiritual master which you can actually... It's like, it's like eating. I mean, you've got to have something you can eat, not something you can't eat. No point telling us about, food in China. You haven't got any food here in China. You've got to eat something which is available. So what is available as instructions to you now? What is available? Come in, boys. What's available? Come on.
I didn't quite understand what you want to say.
Explain it to him.
I understood.
Your spiritual master is only given one instruction. Is that all? And if you can't do that, you can't follow him, can you? And if you don't do that, you're not following him. So is he given any other instructions at all?
Personally or like...
Either way.
In general, he has given many other instructions.
Yeah,
also.
like distribute Srila Prabhupada books.
Okay, maybe something you can do.
Yeah.
Maybe you're not ready to go out into the farm and milk cows and grow potatoes. Dig the land. Maybe you're not ready for that. Plough the field with bulls, by the way, not with tractors. Maybe you're not ready for that. But you're in a position, maybe you can't distribute books. And if that's one of his instructions, that means if you try to do it, it's not the quantity, but the effort, means you're understanding the will of your spiritual master. And if you try to find out how you can make it, how you can fulfill that will, not just do it in terms of effort, but how to do it better, how to do it more nicely. So that's one thing, okay? Anything else? This applies to everyone, by the way. Because that is your spiritual master's will, but why is it his will? Why? Why is he saying that? Why is he saying Varnashram? Why is he saying distribute books?
He wants to assist his spiritual master.
He wants to please his spiritual master. He's got that from Srila Prabhupada. He didn't make that up at school. He didn't make that up when he was like, in Vrindavan or something. He got that from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada got that from his spiritual master. He got it from Srila Prabhupada. And he's giving it to you. This is descending knowledge. This is the mercy. Sometimes time and circumstance, there are some details, but the general rules are there for all. That's his will, that you follow Prabhupada's instruction. Do you chant Hare Krishna on beads? Really? People still do that, huh?
Yes.
We bought these nice clickers, very nice ones from Vrindavan just now. You can become a clicker. Yeah, click, 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 click. They even have it on your mobile. They've got this app on your mobile. You can tap it. I don't think your Guru Maharaj would like that, would he? So that's a detail. That's a detail. So you have to know general things to chant and details. I don't want to embarrass anyone, but there are certain details which you should know about, which you can do better with. You can do them better. Well, not just chanting, but many other things. You have to find there's a good meditation is this. If your spiritual master were sitting right next to you every moment, which he is. You can't see him, but he is in one sense. Would you do what you're doing? Would you say what you're saying? Would you, whatever, think what you're thinking? That's what they call it, litmus test. Huh? It's a test. Think about it. If you want to please your spiritual master, then you have to know what pleases him, what he'd like you to do, and you have to do it with the consciousness that he's with me always. Prabhupada said he never forgot his spiritual master for a moment. That's why he was successful from our perspective and from every perspective, successful in spreading Krishna consciousness. He didn't come with his own formula. He came with implicit faith in his spiritual master and the holy name. You have to, that's not too difficult. And if you get one instruction and you don't follow it, then what can you say? You have to at least get something you can follow. And once you follow that, then you'll get more. No point just theoretically spurting out a whole bunch of information. You have to apply it in your life. You have to do it. If your spiritual master wants you to distribute books, then you have other things to do, obviously. But that should be at least one of your, intentions to please your spiritual master to distribute books. If he's told you to, chant on the clicker, then you should chant on the clicker. But I don't think he told you to chant on the clicker, did he? I don't know any spiritual master who tells their disciples to chant on the clicker. Not that they tell you not to either, but primarily it's to chant on your beads. Chant on your beads so many times a day, right? If you're actually taking shelter, then at least the basic things should be there. And that you should know already. Follow regulated principles, chant 16 rounds, get up for Mangalarti, keep clean and tidy, and things like that, Obvious things. That's a fact. Everyone should bear that in mind. Prabhupada so much emphasized that point. So you try to do things, especially which you're not doing, but your spiritual master would want you to do, and which you're able to do. You do that. You don't try to do something you're not capable of. You're not capable at this point of your life of going out into the farm and ploughing the fields with bulls. Or you're not willing, able, capable, whatever it is. Do what you're capable of and do it. Don't just talk about it. Does it make sense or not? You don't even, most of this is just common sense. You don't even have to ask. Your spiritual master is not going to tell you to do something which Prabhupada doesn't want you to do. That's the first thing. So you can hear from anyone on that one. And you know that if you follow it sincerely, that will please your Guru also, because it's pleasing his Guru. Pleasing Krishna, you're going to please the spiritual master. Many things you could go on and on, but it's getting late. That's a nice meditation. Thank you for that. It's not as simple as it sounds in some ways, is it? But it is very simple. If you want to say, how do I, say if you're inviting somebody around for dinner to your house, what do you want to do when you invite them round? What's your intention?
To please them.
To please them. And of course, if you want to make sure they never come back again and never invite you either, then your intention is different, isn't it? You'll prepare some food you know they don't like. You may find out what they like and what they don't like, then do what they don't like. Then they won't come back again. If you want to get rid of your husband, that's what you do also. You cook what he doesn't like. Do everything he doesn't like. They'll soon be out of there. Or vice versa. So, and then what do you do? Oh, you found out what they like. They like pizza. Okay, forget it. But I don't know how to make pizza. What are you going to do?
Learn it.
If you have time.
Or take help some.
If you don't have time, you'll try to get some pizza from somewhere else. Karmi world, they get it from a shop. Devotee world will try to contact a friend who we know makes nice pizza and order it from them. But we'll try to get what they want somehow or another, isn't it? Ideally, you should yourself. It means you can't really make pizza for them because you don't know how to do it or you're no good at it. But at least you try to provide it, do your best and try to provide it somehow or another. But ideally we should know what we can do and do that for the spiritual master. Okay, they may like more than pizza. What else do you like? I like samosa. Oh wow, I know how to make samosa. Okay, I'll make samosa. So you do what you can make, not what you can't. And others will do that. That's how Varnashram works. You don't do what you cannot do, what you're not meant to do. You're not made for it. You do what you're made for, not what you're not made for. That's Varnashram. Simple. It's not a very complicated structure. It's just learning to play your part. And if everyone plays their part, it's automatically there. It's not like some new science. It's common sense. But people are not playing their part. They're trying to imitate everybody else. Yeah. False, artificial lifestyles that we live. Our Varnashram is based on natural, simple living, natural things. Simple living doesn't mean, living in a cave and eating, barley all day long. It means being yourself. What is simple for a king is not simple for a worker. And what is simple for a worker is not simple for a king, otherwise the Battle of Kurukshetra would have never taken place. Because it wasn't simple for the Pandavas just to sit on the roadside chewing grains or something. They're kings. They have to have a kingdom. Their life is very complicated without it. If someone gives you a kingdom, you'll become completely bewildered. It'll be very complicated. Same with business. People try to do business. They're not businessmen. They want to imitate. They think they can make money. They never make money. They just work like asses and just have enough to live. Becoming a Brahmin, but they have no Brahmin qualities whatsoever. It's just a disturbance in society. They think it's based upon external, things. It's not. Brahmin is not based on external things. It's based on the internal attitude. But we try to imitate. Play your part, designated to you by the Lord. That's Varnashram. That's pleasing your spiritual master. But do it for Krishna, not just do it. Do it for Krishna. Step 1. If you can't follow that, you can't get step 2. Step 1. It becomes Karma Mishra Bhakti. What you can do is karma. Doing it for Krishna is bhakti. So you combine the two, it becomes Karma Mishra Bhakti. You understand? So at least that much you should do. That's Varnashram. Daivi Varnashram. Not Varnashram, Daivi. Your Guru Maharaj doesn't want Varnashram, he wants Daivi Varnashram. That's what Prabhupada wanted. Lord Chaitanya also wants. Bhaktisiddhanta also wants. Not that that's the goal of life, that's just necessary for people to progress towards the goal of life. Otherwise they cannot progress without some... Varnashram means dharma. Varnashram dharma. This is real religion. All this modern concoction is not really effective because it's not based upon the real dharma. The Varnashram dharma is the real religion. That has to be guided by Sanatana Dharma, by eternal Dharma, not by Naimitic, or that nowadays is all guided by concoction and temporary objectives and what have you. Everyone's got false objectives. They think the objective is liberation, going to heaven, having a good life, being a pious guy, having a title. All these are false objectives. Dharma, Kritava, Projita, they're cheating people of the real purpose behind it. You have to follow Sanatana Dharma, our eternal constitutional nature. And Varnashram Dharma is supposed to be practical lifestyle, practical application, practical structure, social, family, everything. Favorable for your progress towards pure devotional service. But if you don't follow that, you're not gonna, you can't jump over. You can't, can't think you can just bypass all of that. Unless you've already been there and done it. And you're genuinely attached to Krishna. And genuinely detached from anything which is not seen in relationship with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Premanandi.